Being the train is basically saying, get out of my way, because I'm not going to stop. Not waiting for others' permission to get going. Why am I waiting for other people? Or like, why do I need to feel like I need other people's approval to do what I want to do?
The biggest thing actually these days is community.
The thing that keeps me motivated is that I need to. I have to find the problem and offer your solutions. I know a lot of people think like, oh, it's not profit, like there's no money, but it's like, it's just like a regular business. There were a ton of filmmakers, but they no one talks to each other. It's such a healing part, and when you're on set with people, it's like you get so close. Knowing that people are supporting you, it's like, it gives you that little push.
Hi, and welcome back to the Be the Train podcast. I'm super, super excited for my guest today, Cindy Ball. I actually met her in the Massaf Film Festival a while back. And then she actually bought my book and then started her own company, which is I'm going to have her describe it better, but basically she is creating projects. It's a nonprofit company that is using the community that she's a part of in the Inland Empire, called
Desert Empire Filmmaker Foundation.
Desert Empire Filmmaker Foundation. And I'm super, super excited to talk more. So thank you so much, Cindy, for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So, okay, we always start this podcast by answering this question. So, what does Be the Train mean to you when you hear that?
For me, being the train is basically saying, get out of my way, because I'm not going to stop. Regardless. And not waiting for others' permission to get going.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what being the train really is. It's taking the initiative. And yeah, not asking for permission, not waiting around.
Yeah.
What's the hold up, people, right? It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. So, well, I remember you very clearly, actually, because it was very inspiring to me. I feel like in this world, we're doing all these things, and sometimes it's hard to really understand or measure your own impact of yourself as you're showing up and doing all these things. And I actually remember when I met you, and then I met you again, that you said that I had some impact on you, which was super exciting. So we want to share a little bit about that. It's really nice to hear, because I think as we're all building our own stuff, to know how we can actually show up and help and affect others is like a really big, important part of being creative in some way.
You know, when I met you at the MSF and I heard you talk about your book, and I was really inspired, and I got the book, read it like in a day. I was like, okay, I need to get on this. And like I said, I was just in a weird situation, a weird spot in my life where it's just like, I'm over 30 something already. I'm not like, I can't move out to, I'm not that I can't, but I'm just like, I don't want to move out to like LA and like compete with the rest of the world trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I had lost kind of my group of really close friends, which was really unfortunate. And it's something that really hurt. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna give up. Like, I'm just gonna work just my regular job and then keep on pursuing this film thing. And then, you know, our friend Havo Aguirre, who had a film premiering that I helped with, he said, hey, come to this band, da, 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 da. And I was like, okay, cool. And then, so like I said, that's where I met you. And I read the book, and I was like, you know what? That's so inspiring. I was like, yeah, why am I waiting for other people? Or like, why do I need to feel like I need other people's approval to do what I want to do? And so it inspired me to really start the nonprofit. And for me, it was important to build community where I'm at already.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have a family. I have identical twin boys that are 4 years old. Like, I'm gonna get them started show business kind of soon, because they're out right now. Twins are in high demand, I think. Right?
Yeah.
And so, but it's one of those things that's like, well, why do we have to make this big move and like lose? And especially with the economy nowadays, it's like people can't really afford to. It's like we have so many people in their late 20s, 30s, and 40s still having to live with their family because like there's no other option, and that's fully fine. And it's just finding your own community. And so I was like, you know what? Instead of like focusing just on me, I think for what brings me joy is serving others.
Yeah.
And I think when you approach it like that, serving others, then other opportunities will come to you personally, right? Because you're putting your effort to, yeah, just serving others, and people will see that and people start to trust you.
Yeah. I love that. Well, and thank you so much because like I said, I think it really as you're showing up and doing things to be helpful and to be of service of others, it's actually really nice to hear and to know when your showing up has affected someone else's showing up in a
Yeah.
positive way.
Mhm.
Because you're like, sometimes you feel like you live in like a void,
Yeah.
and it's like a
Absolutely.
black hole. You're like, is anyone listening? Does anyone care? Is there
Right.
all this showing up doing anything? And
Mhm.
every once in a while, you meet someone who goes, oh my God, actually, the way you showed up really inspired me to show up in a new way. And it's like, this is what we're here for. How cool,
Absolutely. And I think with your book too, it's like the things that really got me was just like the inspired me that's like, hey, like think outside the box.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times there's like we feel like we have to be within certain parameter, or like, oh no, we can't pass so and so, or like this big company, or we can't reach out. Like what are they gonna do? Like
Yeah.
they're just, it's like, well, it doesn't hurt, it just asking.
Yeah.
Because you never know what you're gonna get. Like the worst thing that people are gonna say no or not reply. Like
Yeah.
whatever. Just keep on pushing, right? So
Yeah.
and I think that's one of the biggest inspirations I took from you. And I know the process for one of your films,
Yeah.
that's like, you just call up places and just like, hey, we're doing this. Da, da, da. And then you got a lot of yeses.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit for anybody who's watching or listening who wants to start a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So like what is that take? Like what's nonprofit like?
It's a big process. I know a lot of people think like, oh, it's nonprofit, but like there's no money, but it's like it's just like a regular business. Like
Yeah.
you need money. It's definitely a lot of red tape sometimes, but as long as you kind of focus on your mission and take it very seriously, because a lot of people think like, I'm gonna start a nonprofit and just like it's my side thing. And
Yeah.
Like for me, like this is my full-time gig basically.
Yeah.
So like I do have my own LLC for like my personal projects and stuff like that. That obviously I don't want to take for my own nonprofit, but yeah, it's the same structure. You still have to have like your business plan. How are you going to generate revenue?
Yeah.
What are you gonna really be technically like selling?
Yeah.
How you can still make money and just all the proceeds just go back towards
The community.
Yeah. Mhm.
Got it. For your nonprofit,
Mhm.
which is helping the inland community,
Mhm.
what exactly? So, are you guys doing? What kind of projects are you guys doing? And you said you just did your first mixer, and like
Yeah.
60 people showed up. So, like, what does that look like to start building community? And what kind of projects are you guys looking to do?
Okay, so well, we started off by going to small film festivals kind of in the region because it's funny because with the Inland Empire, the region is so vast, it's so big. It's all like Riverside County and San Bernardino County, basically. That's all considered like the Inland Empire.
Yeah.
So what we noticed was that there were a ton of filmmakers, but no one talked to each other.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like everyone's like, well, I'm gonna go do this, and it's like, oh well, have you met so and so? That's like, yep, it doesn't live that far.
Yeah.
But we just like don't communicate, and so that was like the biggest thing that I saw. I'm just like, okay, well, let's start making like mixtures and start having people connect, right? So they can like maybe we can't, because we're very small still. We're very volunteer based right now, so we don't have like a ton of money. But it's just like, well, people are doing stuff out here regardless. Like regardless if they got money or not, they're figuring it out, which I love, and I think that's the grittiness of the Inland Empire. It's like people just doing it. Get the permits when he's so done. No, but
I mean that's how you have to start. 100%.
yeah, and so the biggest thing is like having those resources for people, building the community, knowing that there's other people, like kind of just meeting your people, right?
Yeah.
Because as you know, especially with film, it's so community based.
Well, I was going to actually say, I just had someone else who came in and we were talking about this. I think like the biggest thing actually these days is community because making something has become so hard and standing out has become so hard and everything is just hard. But if you have a community
Right.
of people who care, who show up for each other, who help each other, that's kind of the foundation for anything, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we're looking at trying to do projects that's are very community based, right? And I'm trying to reach out to like theater companies and this and that to have actors who want to get on the screen and things like that, or like we need carpenters to like create sets and this and that. And the Inland Empire in general is known very much for the blue collar work, or like
Yeah.
warehouses, way too many.
Yeah.
And I always think, well, what is a studio besides an empty warehouse, right?
Yeah.
Like, hello.
Yeah.
So that's like my big goal is to one day have a studio where, people can create things for like very low costs, or, and just so there's reducing the barriers, right? It's just like, no, you don't have to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours away to get access to these types of resources, and you can tell your story here from home.
Yeah.
So that's my big dream.
I love that. And so how do you manage doing this while you have two twin
Yeah.
kids?
Twin
That's
boys,
a twin
yeah.
boys. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it's definitely a challenge. So yeah, I do have identical twin boys. Like I said, they're almost 4 years old, and they are on the spectrum. So that's another layer of
Both of them?
yes.
Okay.
So that's another layer of complexity. They just started talking like 6 months ago, but they're like,
Let me ask you a question. This is a side question, and pardon my ignorance, but I'm just curious.
Sure.
How do you know? How do you know when your kid is on the spectrum? Like, is there something like how do you find out, or is that something I don't know? I'm just curious.
well, for honestly, I don't know. I think I'm just really good at clocking it. I'm not gonna lie, like maybe it takes some knowing, but no, it's I think for me, I noticed when they were really young, they would have like these mannerisms, like
Okay.
very the well, they call it stimming. So
Okay.
I noticed. I mean, it wasn't dramatic, but like sometimes they like just shake their head in certain ways.
Okay.
And then also the big thing is by the time you reach 1 years old, I noticed they wouldn't like. We're like, okay, wave my bye, do this, do that. They would not replicate anything we were doing.
Got it. Got it.
So it was just like I noticed the communication really wasn't there, like not the eye contact, not reacting with their name,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Got it.
So I started kind of asking like, hey, what's up? Like, yeah, the doctor, like, what's going on? And a lot of people just say like, just wait, they're fine, da 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 da. And like for me, I'm just like, no, like I can tell, like
Yeah.
they're not okay, you know.
Yeah.
And so luckily we were able to like after talking, it was a mission, let me tell you. I like and so many tears had to really come out of me to figure it out. But luckily I was able to get the resources and get the diagnose when they just had her two.
Okay. Okay.
And then after that, it's just scheduling and that whole universe is so crazy just
Yeah.
scheduling appointments and showing up and assessments
And so what happens from there? And I know we're like side tangent
Yeah, no,
here,
that's
but I think that this is also interesting because I think a lot of people do have kids
Yeah.
who are, in different variations of either on the spectrum or different other things. And I think it's just like the more information we know, the more we can help each other out.
Right.
So what happens? So once they are diagnosed,
Mhm.
how does it work in terms of like, so do you just keep checking in and do things kind of evolve in a certain direction or not? Or how does that work?
Well, usually there's something called like Inland Regional Center, and I think regional centers are all around California, and I think in a lot of states, I'm not exactly sure out of California,
Yeah.
but basically you start from there, and they're like the baseline of saying like, okay, like they'll do the assessment and they say, okay, they need X amount of hours during the week to help build certain like because like my kids had to kind of learn how to play. They really did.
Yeah.
Like they did not. They it's so funny because like they just barely started playing with each other, interacting. It was a lot of parallel play for a long time.
Yeah.
So because it's just like for them, it's like they knew they were around each other, but they just didn't interact.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of like so with the therapies, it's all about like kind of pushing them out of their comfort zone
Yeah.
because for them like they have a very visceral reaction when it's like, oh, we're gonna take you somewhere, we're moving on. Like for them transitioning from one activity to the next activity, like they feel like the world's gonna be over. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
my god. And I mean a lot of it is typical toddlering.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty.
Yeah. But it's just like for them it's so deep and
Yeah.
sometimes and there's no talking to them to really
Yeah.
get them to understand that.
Yeah.
So it's just practicing. It's like, okay, so first we're gonna do this and then we're gonna like they need a lot of verbal
extra,
and visual to understand like, okay, like this is very normal.
Yeah.
Like this is like you gotta keep moving, So yeah, it's and I think everyone's grade is a little bit different too. Like
Yeah,
I know some
sure.
people like go all in and like try to do a ton of therapy, and then some people kind of take a more minimal approach. So I
Yeah.
think it's every kid's different, obviously, right? And I'm sure you've heard like you've met one kid with autism, you've met one kid with autism, right? It's like it's
Yeah.
such a big
Yeah.
that it's like you can't tell exactly, each kid is
Yeah.
different.
Even
my
you also have to
twins,
go
yeah.
one day at a time, and things evolve in different ways.
Oh yeah.
For different people.
Yeah, even my twins that are identical, it's like I can tell them apart more by their personality.
Interesting.
Yeah, versus like them, like because they look obviously identical.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Mhm.
So yes, and then how does that obviously that's a lot to balance.
and I'm still trying to figure that out.
Aren't we
Yeah.
all? Yeah.
But luckily too, I have a very supportive husband. Like it's great to have your person,
Mhm.
and we do everything together. It's unusual that he's not here today, but it's just because he's taking care of the kids.
Oh,
He's amazing at giving me some space, and like he knows how overwhelmed I get, and especially because the kids like they gravitate towards one parent usually, right?
Yeah.
It's just like so it's like mom, mommy, mom. So
yeah.
I hear all day, so it's like sometimes he's like, okay, like take a breather, go
Yeah.
do this,
Yeah.
and unfortunately we don't have family that's really close by us, so
Yeah.
that
Makes it
you know,
hard.
it makes it harder. But my mom does. She's awesome, and she does take him like twice a month, maybe for a couple of days.
Oh.
Or we drop him off at grandma's. So it's like,
Oh,
all right,
nice.
see you later.
Yeah.
I actually think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, not everyone has.
The opportunity
Mhm.
or, the luck of having that.
Right.
But I think that if you can, I think it's so good in partner dynamics to have some time off
Yeah.
because it does change the partner dynamic a lot. And so just
Yeah.
having a moment to remember, like, what am I like when I'm not taking care of two kids?
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah.
I'm one of those too. It's just like I love being busy, and that I feel like if I'm not overwhelmed, I'm not being enough.
Yeah.
So it's good to have someone there to pull you back and be like, hey, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, breather. You don't need to take on another project. You already have like the twins and this and that. And
Yeah.
I think, okay, I guess you're right.
Yeah. And so does your husband, is he also part of this nonprofit?
Yeah, absolutely.
cool.
So he's like the president because
Oh, wow.
it's so funny because a lot of people meet me and like we're talking right now and they think like, oh, you must be so outgoing, so this. And I was like, do not put me in front. Like, this is really hard. Like, honestly, it took me a while to reply because I was like, what do you mean? I'm not interested. I have nothing to talk about. I was not going to come out and get about my ass. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, you're great. Like, get on there. So
Yeah.
he pushed me. But he is, so like I said, I'm very, I don't like the spotlight.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But my husband's the complete opposite. He's just like, oh, in front of camera, on stage, put me wherever.
Oh.
So he's that kind of personality.
Yeah.
And I always say like, I'm just gonna be your biggest cheerleader. Like I'll be the loudest. I'll be
Yeah.
Well, like for me, I don't like it, but I'm really trying to push myself out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But yeah, my husband, like I said, he loves he likes to act. He's a
Oh, cool.
musician. That's his biggest. He's always said that's his selling point is that he makes music. So
Cool.
he does do scoring for film.
Oh,
That's his
cool.
biggest thing. But he kind of does it all, right?
Yeah. Well, and I also love that he pushed you to come here. I think that's so cool. It's so awesome. I shout out to my husband who is also very supportive and has helped me set this all up. He helps me shoot this every month and he helps me with everything really. He yeah, it is so important. And he actually, my husband was the one who told me I should write a book and told me I should start a podcast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, you really need someone to be like, you're worth taking up space.
Yeah.
Take up space. Do the thing you want to do. Because sometimes we want to do something and we just don't feel like, empowered, or we feel like, oh, it's, I don't know if I can take that on. It's a lot.
Right.
And you kind of need someone to be like,
No, you can.
Yeah.
You can and you will.
Yeah.
and I'm right here. Just go do it. And you're like, oh, okay.
I guess.
I guess if you say so, I'll do it. So yeah, that's awesome. So what is something you guys are working on right now?
Well, I have a few things. So personally, I'm actually creating our first features length. So I'm just like,
Amazing.
Ah,
Congrats.
thank you so much.
Very exciting.
And
Are you
it's-
writing it?
My husband's writing it. I'm not the writer, but
Okay.
I tell him I was like, hey, I want this, and I'll make sure that there's this in there. And he's like, okay, cool, I got you. Be on
Okay, cool.
So that's we always like to collaborate and get feedback from each other. But yeah, so with that one, I I hope we can get it shot this year and release it for next year. But it's gonna be a Christmas movie.
Oh, cool.
And it's gonna be about like a cultural clash between the Hispanic culture, the more American culture. So
Is he American?
yeah. So
And you're Hispanic.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it's kind of taken from real life a little bit, but the whole thing is about celebrating Christmas on the 24th with a Hispanic family,
Yeah.
and then the 25th with his other family, which is a lot more well, not bland, but so the contrast and just the chaos of all that coming together.
That's
and-
fun.
So it's gonna
I
be a
love that.
rom-com, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So
That's awesome.
Mhm.
I love that.
So that's the big thing that we're working on for our personal thing. And then in addition to that, we're doing a filmmaker showcase. So showing we're going to run out of theater to
Oh, cool.
show full independent film.
That's awesome. I love that. That's such a great way to build community and also showcase other people,
Yeah.
lift people up,
Mhm.
give people the experience of seeing other people's work. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. Because I know sometimes you think what you're doing, like, oh my gosh, I can never do that, da, da, da. And then you see like, well, so and so did it. They just grabbed their iPhone and then they went like this, and da, 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 and they're here now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like sometimes you just need to see it, or just it's encouraging to see your work somewhere. You know, even if it's not like the biggest stage or whatever, but it's just like knowing that people are supporting you. It's like it gives you that little push, I think.
So before you started this nonprofit,
Mhm.
what were you working on before? You said you had a group of friends that you were doing a bunch of projects with.
Yeah, so I started going because it's one of those things for me. I came into film kind of later in life, because I actually first started in healthcare.
Okay.
I was doing some nursing stuff. I was a medical assistant, and then I went back to school because I was like, okay, like I should probably get my RN license and da 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 da. And then so I was pursuing that, and then I was doing some classes, and I'm just like, you know what? Like I really don't like this. Like
Yeah.
I like nursing and all that stuff, like it is rewarding in a lot of senses, but at the same time, I've always been a creative person.
Yeah.
And with that, obviously, there's still not the much wiggle room with creativity.
Yeah.
Then the pandemic kind of hit,
Yeah.
and we had moved to Redlands because I originally am from Indio, California, which is like Coachella Valley, that area, so a little further out. And then my husband was getting his degree over at University of Redlands, and so he's like, I don't want to make the commute, and I think it's just time for us to kind of move out of the area. And I was like, okay, fine, it's not that far away. I can still visit my family, yada yada. So we made the choice of moving to Redlands. And then, like I said, pandemic hit, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do something else. Like I'm tired of doing this whole nursing thing. And so I decided to go back to school to start kind of like figure out film. And actually San Bernardino Valley College has a really great film program. People don't know about it. It's one of
Oh,
those
cool.
things like they'll let you play around with, like they have like REs and like big equipment that people really don't know about. And so that's kind of where I met like a group of like-minded people, and then we just started helping each other out, like just free, right? It's one of
Yeah.
the struggle, the Little Caesars,
Yeah, just
the
start
late
making
nights.
stuff.
Yeah, so we just decided, well, let's just make films that we want to make, and then that's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
And then that's how I got started in film, and since then I've produced, and I'm usually a producer or AD on set. Although that's where I love to be an AD. That's my thing.
Oh,
I was like,
cool.
I'll yell with you with a big smile and be like, get over there.
Yeah.
So
Big smile does the trick.
yeah, exactly. So so I produce a lot of mini shorts, and yeah, that's what my main thing is.
So, have you ever had a moment? We talk about this a lot in this podcast. I think in any creative field, there's a lot of self doubt, and obviously, it can be very hard to earn money. And so, like, have you had a moment like that? And what have you done in that moment, or how have you decided to keep going, or what keeps you motivated?
I think for me, the thing that keeps you motivated is that I need to do it. I feel like there's no other option. It's like for me, it's like it's such a healing part. It's like not only that, but it's just like like I said, community for filmmaking is like when you're on set with people, it's like you get so close.
Yeah.
And I think for me that's just so fulfilling. And even if it's like not my project or this or that, it's just like for me, I just see the spark in other people, and it really keeps me going because yeah, it's hard. It's not easy, and I mean, luckily, me and my husband had been able to live like a decent life. You know, we have a home and all that stuff, but I know it's really hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just because I'm really passionate about what I do, and even when we're at the lowest lows, we're like, oh my gosh, like this was a horrible idea. What are we doing? And just like, we always think of the positives, and it's like there's always, we're here for a reason, right? And we have the interactions that we have for a reason. And I'm a big believer of like, you're where you're supposed to be at, you know, and everything happens for reasons.
And is there any habits that you think have been like helpful for you in terms of like building yourself up or feeling a certain way or just being like, I can handle today?
Yeah, you know, I've been trying to get a lot better about this because you can have my husband, but I'm the worst at like self-care stuff because
Yeah.
I'm always like on the go, and it's just like
Yeah.
1 o'clock in the morning. I was like, okay, but we need to. He's like, relax, like take a breather. So I'm trying to get better about taking that time for myself. You know, and it's like, okay, I should go like eat more than like this granola bar and like you know, or I gotta move my body. I've been sitting down on this desk for like 3 hours. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that it's slowly coming.
Yeah.
But I am trying to prioritize it, especially with, you know.
I mean, it's hard with
It
two
is.
twins that have everything else. And, you know, obviously they need a lot of care. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. And it's interesting. And I was saying this to someone recently, like, you know, I have a 5-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. And in the last year, I've started like what I like to call my health journey, where I've started working out every single day.
Yeah.
And I had to restructure my whole life
Yeah.
to make it work because it does not, you know, like I remember thinking to myself, like, how does anyone do this?
Right.
Like, there's just no time.
Right. It's like physically impossible.
Right.
How is anyone making this happen? But then
I had to like look at my day and be like, oh yeah, I have to like wake up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
and fit it in before they wake up and then start my day, which means I need to go to sleep by this time if I actually want to get sleep.
Yeah.
means I have to, you know, it's like there were so many things. But then
What's interesting about it is that it's been one of the best things that I've come for myself in terms of how I feel,
Yeah.
in terms of my energy, in terms of my anxiety.
Right.
So many things have shifted in a positive way, but it really took like a massive restructure for it to fit into my life because it's time.
Yeah.
It's a little time. And it's
Absolutely.
very, very hard. And it's not always easy to make the time. It's like you have to really be in a moment where you're like, okay, I'm ready for this restructure.
Right.
Because it's not, you know, I remember for the first year that I had my daughter, it would have been impossible. It was like I was still breastfeeding. I was like, there's so like it's not always a good moment for a restructure. You know?
Right.
You know, I'm like, okay, here we go, and I can really do this right now. And sometimes that's not what's available. You know,
Right. Yeah, and I think it's one of those things like it's one of those things I think when you start prioritizing yourself, then everything else kind of falls into place
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I've noticed so far. I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, like it's okay, and it's okay. You have to give yourself permission
Yeah.
to be like, yeah, you can do that, and yeah, finding time sometimes. Oh, and I was gonna say too, it's just like for me, I was such a night owl forever.
oh, me too.
And then like,
Me too.
and then we had the kids, and it was just like, okay, and now I'm just like, I'm in bed before they're like jumping on me. I was like, okay, I'm asleep, guys. Like, if you go spill the bed soon, because it's like, I have got to wake up tomorrow, and I gotta make sure you guys are good before you go. It's
Yeah,
it's
me too.
a big life change, I think.
Me too. I was a big night owl too, and now I would say if I don't have something I'm doing at night, I'm usually in bed by like 8:30.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like I used to, you know, go to dinner at 9.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still have nights where I go out.
Right.
I've been trying to start like implementing that more into my life to have moments where I'm doing stuff on my own.
Yeah, but on my normal day to day, I mean, I'm going to bed at the same time as my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible, and I mean, I try to go to bed and use a toenail. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, gosh, I just think of like, man, I'm getting old. Like, but you know what? It's fun. It's fine. It's having a good time though. You know,
Yeah.
as we age, like we learn so much about ourselves, and you start liking yourself a little bit more. I
Yeah.
think. So that's also been a plus.
Yeah.
So just kind of accepting myself as like who I am, and like, you know.
Yeah. So what would you say are, because I work with my husband as well. So what would you say are like some pros and cons to working with your partner?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's one of those things. Me and my husband, we're the kind of people that we're good at like figuring out arguments so like really quickly. Whereas like, okay, what's the problem? Like, what are you feeling? Because it's mostly what it comes down to is that people aren't communicating when
Yeah.
there's problems, right? So we try to make a really good habit about checking in with each other.
Yeah.
Because then, you know, people start gaining like resentment and stuff like
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
when you don't check in.
Oh yeah. But we know.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that we're really good. It's like, hey, I'm feeling X, Y, and Z, and maybe you're not trying to make me feel like that.
Yeah.
But and
That's not your main.
yeah, exactly. And so it's good to check in. A lot of check-ins is the whole thing, and giving each other like, I guess my husband always says like the key to successful marriage is square footage. So sometimes just having space.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
That's good advice.
yeah. So sometimes I'm just like, you know what? Go make some music. Go in your studio.
Yeah.
It's fine. Take your
Go
time.
away.
Yeah,
Come
go
back,
away.
and
Come back.
we'll-
I still love you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
We'll take
So-
a breather. I think that's very good advice, actually.
Yeah,
A
but
lot of times when you're in a very heated argument,
yeah,
I think it's actually really helpful to just step away.
yeah,
Because it's almost like when two people are triggered, you say things you don't even mean.
yeah.
And it's like, if you just take like 5 minutes off, you come back and you're like, oh, I was in a place.
Yeah.
And like, that's not where I was trying to go.
Right.
You know?
And a lot of times too, it's just like that those feelings are just because it's something within yourself that you're feeling. And it's not really the other person. It's just like it's so complicated, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a lot of fun. It's the whole thing too. It's just
Yeah.
like he's so fun. He just makes me laugh all the time, and like vice
Aw.
versa. You know, we're that couple that's always just like you know, just cracking up and just having such a good time. And obviously, I just admire him too. Just he's just so talented, and I'm just like, oh, look at you. You know.
Aw, I love
So
that.
but it is a balance that it's just like we got to check in with each other. So it's really important because yeah, it can get. And when it's an everyday thing, it's like you see your partner every day, and then sometimes like you kind of take them for granted too. It's just like, well, you're gonna do this and da da da, and it's like, no, it's like I gotta think. It's like, okay, my husband is not my assistant.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say husband, and as we gotta respect that as well.
Totally. No, that makes sense. So what would you say is some advice you would give to someone else who's either trying to start their nonprofit or who's trying to figure out how to build more community? You know, to anyone who's watching or listening, what would you say is some advice?
Well, I think it's talking like figure out where your community hangs out. And what are they doing? Like, how can you reach them? For us, like our social media has been kind of like the bigger thing that we've been focusing on,
Yeah.
and we get a lot of people reaching out to us because of our social media.
Amazing.
And we have a great social media guy. He's in Miss Eric. Hey, Eric, he's awesome, and he's been volunteering with us for a while now, but he makes everything so simple for us because I'm such a perfectionist sometimes when it comes to like filming and this and that. And I'm like, okay, let's do it again, right? Like I gotta do this whole speech in like 2 minutes and make sure I don't have mess up any time. And he's like, no, it's fine. Keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah, for any advice for people trying to start like a nonprofit or anything like that, yeah, go ahead and try to figure out where your community's at and start asking like, what do they want?
Yeah.
Now versus like, oh, I want to do X, Y, and Z, da da da. But because if that's not what people want,
Yeah.
right? It's like it's still like a business, right? You have to find the problem and offer your solutions.
Yep.
So that's a big one because I know a lot of people, especially in the nonprofit world, people think about like the programs that Nora run. It's like, oh, this would be such a great idea to do X, Y, and Z. But it's like, but is that what people want?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a good idea. And sometimes we get really excited, I think, about ideas, but it's just like, but what is it for? Know your
And
audience.
and also, what are you solving? What
Right.
problem are you solving?
Right.
I think that's a really good way to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, amazing. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And if you could tell everybody where to find you.
Yeah, sure. So the nonprofit on Instagram is called Desert Empire Filmmaker, and then my personal one is produced by Cindy. That's our biggest ones, and we also have our podcast. It's called the Most Deaf Podcast, so DEFF podcast, where we interview like local filmmakers and talk about give them a little bit of a spotlight about their moments.
Oh, cool. Well, if anyone then is from the Inland Empire and
Yeah.
wants to be on the podcast, they should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. This was great.